That's worth. So, well, we welcome now Kelly Bennett, Multimedia Journalist, SuperTalk Mississippi News.
Good morning, guys. Happy Friday. You know what I noticed this week, Gerard? This blew my mind. It feels like I've been so knee-deep in election coverage for years. It feels like years, right? And then all of a sudden this week, we're going less than 2 weeks until the election. Yeah.
I know. What are we going to do then?
Almost. We're going to go vote. That's what we're going to do if you haven't done it yet.
After what are you and I going to track after the election? No more election coverage.
Well, not long after that, we have a legislative session kicking in with lots of fun stuff to happen there. And I'm sure, like you're a money guy, Gerard. I'm looking forward to more tax cuts if we can make that happen.
There you go. Now you're speaking my language, Kelly. I'm all about more tax cuts. Let's do it. I'm down. All right, what's going on? What are you guys tracking?
Well, Republicans are embracing the practice of casting their ballots before Election Day more than they have in past election cycles. Now, according to the Wall Street Journal, more than 15 million Americans voted early in person or cast mail-in ballots. That includes 5.3 million voters in 7 swing states. That was as of Tuesday. Tommy Pigott is the communications director for the RNC.
There could be something at work. Getting your vote in not only makes sure that your vote gets in, but it also lets us then spend those resources to target voters that haven't voted yet. And often those are what we call lower propensity voters, which are voters that don't traditionally vote in election cycles. We can go out and make sure that we're driving more turnout to the polls.
Where voters register by party, about 47% of the early votes have been cast by Democrats, 33% by Republicans. Now, if you want to go ahead and get it done, you can this weekend. In-person absentee voting will be open at circuit clerk's offices across the state Saturday from 8 until noon. This is one of 2 Saturdays squared away for those who can't vote in person on Election Day, and you have to have valid reasons for this in the state of Mississippi, like you're going to be at work, you're disabled. There are several reasons for it. You can look up the Secretary of State's website. He tracks all that information for you and lays it out for you really simply. But 8 until noon for in-person absentee voting this weekend at circuit clerk's offices across Mississippi. I thought this was kind of interesting, what Senator Roger Wicker had to say about the election. You know, the vice president and former president have both held a lot of rallies in Michigan, trying to get a win in the battleground state where making cars is a key part of the economy. And Senator Roger Wicker believes that federal EV mandates could cost Harris some votes in that state.
And of course, we like to build and manufacture automobiles down in Mississippi too, but that's Motor City. And there's just no question about it. This electric vehicle mandate that the Harris-Biden administration has tried to voice off on the American people, it's just not going over well. The consumers are not going to drive an electric car, and it's really hurting job creation. And so I think we're going to carry Michigan.
So Trump has said on day one, drill, 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 mass deportation. He's also vowed to end the electric vehicle mandate on day one. Meanwhile, Harris supports the Biden administration's EV investments and says she'll build on the administration's push to bolster EVs. Another big news item this week, I thought this was kind of interesting. It's happening with the guy that has run for office. He's a former Mississippi congressional candidate, and he ran for Secretary of State's office as well. Jaworski Young left the Democratic Party this week and now identifies as what he calls a Christian conservative.
This has nothing to do, I think, so much with what the state party actually represents. I think that here in Mississippi, the differences between the Democratic Party in Mississippi and the differences between the Republican Party in Mississippi are almost paper thin, unless you go to a national level as far as ideological perspective.
Needless to say, he took a lot of grief after making this announcement on social media.
I've sold out black people. I'm a traitor. I'm going to hell.
his thoughts on all the negativism?
It gives me more fuel to talk about economic prosperity and how we can actually wean ourselves away from democratic policies that are going to basically keep people poor, keep people dependent upon the government, keep the government spending and also printing more money that's going to ultimately raise inflationary prices.
He is actually in talks with people about his consideration to join the Republican Party, but for now, he's just saying Christian conservative. That's what you can call me. I thought his interview was really interesting. Wasn't it you he spoke with earlier this week, Jerome?
Yeah, we sure did. We interviewed him earlier this week and kept him for 3 segments. It was an insightful interview, and I was disappointed in reviewing his post, his tweet where he announced that he was leaving the Democrat Party. Disappointed at the reaction from what looked like hundreds upon hundreds of aggrieved Democrats that were just mad at him and retaliating and lashing out, but in the most hostile, vitriolic, insulting way. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's not really unbelievable to me. I mean, it's been so ugly between people on the two parties for several election cycles. In fact, it looks like the Dems today are talking civil unrest if Trump wins the election, and they seem to be getting voters ready for a possible Trump win.
Yeah, and that does seem to be the case. I just feels like they sense that the ship is sinking. And they seem to be more in damage control mode than they are just pushing this thing into port.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting week, and I've watched a lot of CNN town halls with Kamala Harris earlier this week, and, there's a lot of talk about that. I'm not even going to reiterate that for you, but I will tell you something fun. Halloween's going to be here next week. A
Yes,
group
it
called
is.
Holiday Calendar dove into the data to uncover the most popular Halloween candies state by state. So if you're going out doing your Halloween shopping, Halloween candy shopping this weekend, Mississippi's favorite, Starburst came in 5th. Sour Patch Kids were 4th. Twix was 3rd. Skittles were number 2. Snickers was the favorite among Mississippians. I think I ate all mine already. You know how you do that. And according to their results, America's favorite candy is Skittles. That one ranked number 1.
Yeah.
I think it was 9 states. That was kind of fun.
It is ranked at the top for a while, has it not? Haven't Skittles been the favorite Halloween candy?
Skittles or Reese's, yeah.
Yeah, for some time.
And Snickers.
I'm not a fan. And Snickers, yeah. Now, Snickers
What's
been around
yours
a long
then,
time,
Gerard?
of course. I like Snickers. I like Milky Ways, too.
Milky Ways are pretty good. I like those crackle bars, those little bars with like the Rice Krispies in them. They kind of melt in your mouth. Those are really good.
Yeah.
I got to be honest, though, if it's chocolate, though, I ain't saying no. You know what I mean?
Me too. I like the $100,000 bar, $100,000 bar. Those are good.
What happened to
Kinda
those?
like
I don't see them around as much anymore.
Yeah, they're still around. They're kind of like a turtle, sort of, chocolate turtle. I like Kit Kats, too. I like the white chocolate Kit Kats. When I was a kid, I enjoyed Zero bars. You don't hear much about those. Those are kind of old-fashioned candy.
Whoppers. I've gotten to where I can't eat Milk Duds, though, because I'm afraid they're going to take out all my fillings and my calves. I've spent a lot of money on dental work. I'm like, no Milk Duds for me, thanks.
I suspect our dentist would say, don't eat those. I'm thinking probably not the best thing. Yeah.
They're so good. Yeah.
Well, so I'm thinking in a couple of weeks here when this election is in the books, we're going to start turning our attention, to state-level politics?
Yes, and there are a lot of big things coming up this year that we expect the legislature to debate. Tax cuts, whether that be in the form of more cuts to state income taxes or possibly the grocery tax. Another big item I do expect to come up this year, of course, it depends on which state lawmaker you talk to, but school choice. Charter schools, I think, might be a big issue in 2025.
And, something that may boost its prospects of passing in Mississippi is Donald Trump has made it very clear that he thinks that's a policy that's necessary to be enacted at the federal level. And he even said this in his little barbershop meeting earlier in the week. He was in, I believe it was New York, wasn't it, Rhino, in Brooklyn, as I recall. Yeah. it was. So he was among the barbers there and the customers of the barber shop, and he said, we got to have school choice. You know how he is. He said, we got to have it. We got to do it. It's the right thing to do.
I haven't even heard Harris mention it.
No, because they oppose it. Because the teachers' unions vehemently oppose school choice. Thus, the Democrats oppose school choice. Yeah, exactly. Kelly, thanks for joining us. Appreciate the update.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great weekend.
You too. We're coming right back, folks.